and every one of you. That's right, except Jim.
Well, Henry, congratulations. Of course, UFC champion, but not only that, I mean, beating one of the greatest of all time to get it done. Just what's the emotion like for you right now?
Man, it's a true testimony of an underdog. Man, I lasted the first fight with Demetrius Johnson 2 minutes and 36 seconds. And I felt like it was going that way that very first round too. When those calf kicks, man, really I couldn't plant, and I was forced to switch southpaw, but it actually helped me. And before all this, I said in order for me to beat Demetrius, it had to do with distance, timing, and composure. And that's exactly how we took this fight. You know, I took this fight. He got to my legs, and that was okay. I wanted Demetrius to work, and man, this is surreal, man. This is surreal. This is a kid who grew up. Who was born, 10 miles away from the Staples Center, the ghetto streets of South Central LA, to Mexican immigrants, to being an Olympic champion at the age of 21, where my mother wasn't able to go to the Olympics due to her citizenship status, to her becoming a U.S. citizen about 8 years ago, and then me now, 10 years later being an Olympic champion, now carrying UFC gold, man. It really is a dream come true. On August 19th, I became the youngest in history to ever win an Olympic gold medal, and on August 4th, I defeated the man, the myth, the legend, Demetrius Johnson, man. It feels super good.
You touched on it, but what was going through your mind that first round? I mean, you're flopping around out there, struggling to stand. I think, all of us kind of thought, oh God, how's he ever going to come back from this? So what's going through your mind?
It's the love to win, but I think more importantly is hating to lose, man. I hate second place. I absolutely hate second place with a passion. And losing to Demetrius Johnson the first time in a devastating fashion, that only motivated me. That put a chip on my shoulder, as you guys heard Captain America say. I says, man, Henry needed a chip on his shoulders, and because of defeat, I was able to fall in love with the sport of mixed martial arts even more so, because man, now there's a challenge. There's a guy on top of me. There's a guy that has a belt and he's smiling, and I'm over there looking up at him like, damn, shaking his hand. And now, man, I feel like, God, I can rest, I can sleep. I had 3 goals in my life when I was 17 years old. I remember reading the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I remember writing my goals down, and my number 1 goal in life was just to be a good husband and a good father someday. That was number 1, as a 17-year-old kid. Number 2 was to be an Olympic champion, was to be the best in the world in the sport that I just love. And then number 3 was to be a UFC champion. And I've done 2 out of the 3. Probably harder than ever. It might be hard being a good husband and a good dad, but some of you guys are like, the Bachelor's next, baby. Bring them out.
Henry, how good did it feel to go back to your wrestling over here, man? It's just to get back to your roots. Sorry?
Could I just ask one more?
I didn't mean to
interrupt. I just want to ask one last question, if I could. Beforehand, you said that you wanted to, that you would grant Mighty Mouse a rematch if you beat him, because he is such a great champion. But afterwards, you immediately say, let's go up and do that. Give me an idea why you think the move up to 135 is the right move.
Because, man, look, if you guys watch my fight, man, look how much bigger I am than Demetrius Johnson. I was watching the highlights. I'm a tank, man. I can easily fill up into 135 pounds and feel good. And the other reason, too, they've always talked about TJ and DJ's super fight. They neglected Henry Cejudo on the promos. They neglected Henry Cejudo and practically everything. And I get it, because America's all about winners. And I get it. But now that I'm the winner, I'm asking, dude. I'm an Olympic champ. I'm a UFC champ. And now I'm asking to be a triple champ. Forget about the champ. I want to be a triple champ, man. Allow me to go up to 135 pounds. Allow me to face TJ Dillashaw, man. If he wants to come down, we can talk. I'd rather go up. I want to make history.
All right, Henry, I was asking you about your wrestling, just getting back to that. You took him down early in the first fight. He got right back up. A couple times early tonight, he did the same thing. It was like you were wrestling a fish out there, how fast he got off the mat.
Yeah, a lot of that, I credit his scrambling. I wasn't expecting Demetrius to do a lot of these significant rolls, these Grambies and things of that matter. And, he did that, which surprised me. Again, man, when you fight Demetrius Johnson, he's very small and he's very squirmy. It's not like you fight somebody where you can kind of feel like he's constantly just moving. So I kind of had to use I had to deal with the cards that I was dealt with. And those situations, I had to continue to keep mixing and making it awkward for him. And I noticed even with Demetrius, is the more you make him scramble, he gets tired. He gets tired, man. He's human. I said it before. I said he believes just like me. And tonight was my night. It wasn't an easy fight. It was a technical fight. I believe this, and I said it before. I said, man, this is much bigger than the belt, man. I defeated a guy that there's a bit of admiration for, a guy that's done a lot for the flyweight division, and now I have that X on my back, and it's my job to carry it, and I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and obviously that's something that, and a lot more options too for the wife maybe with that belt. But I wanted to ask you about what you did in your camp and the complete difference in your physique and everything that you've done with Neuroforce One, with the science and all that stuff to not only make you've improved every aspect of your game and then mentally slowing things down in there, but just everything in general to make a complete package and build a champion.
I said it before. I says if I can't be the best in the world, there's something wrong. I have the physique, I have the body, I have the intelligence. I'm fast, I'm explosive, I'm young and cute. Some of you guys could laugh, and some of you guys are still sleeping on me, man. I gotta wake you guys up. And I decided to put science in the center of this camp, and I worked with the sports performance-based company, performance-based company called Neuroforce One, and they handled everything from my recovery to my nutrition to my vitamins to my proteins, and I'd never done this before. I come from the sport of wrestling, where you just put your head down, you just work, and I would get injured or whatnot, and things were coming repetitive, and I finally, I got to know Neuroforce One. I saw what they were doing. I saw a complete change, and you guys could see that change when I fought Wilson Hayes. I was like, God, Lee, that dude is ripped. He's bulky. This dude, he doesn't look like a flyweight. I've never had an 8-pack or a 6-pack for that matter. I can drink them, but I can't have them. And I think that was the difference, was adding science and Neuroforce One to the center of this camp.
Henry, how much do you think patience tonight was a factor? Because, Demetrius is so fast and quick and he's moving, and you had to remain patient and stay in the game plan. Do you think that was a factor, especially early when he was moving so much?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was patience. I think that was key in timing and not allowing a lot of his movement to disorient me. Because he moves a lot, man. He's super hard to hit, man. He's got a tiny head. Like somehow it's big from the back, but his face is it's small, man. So when you fight Demetrius, he's a small target, and he moves. He's unlike any other flyweight. And I think that was a difference. Like, man, I gotta wait for my opportunity. I might have to get hit a couple times to give a good hard blow and then transition to my wrestling.
When you started with Neuroforce One and your body starts to change, did it take a while for you to get used to it? Like, your body's different than it was previously, and you've had you worked so long and so well with the body you had previously. Did you have to, kind of adjust to it, and did it take a while for that type of training to filter down to where you saw results?
Yeah, absolutely. And I was telling them, like, guys, I'm getting too big, man. I'm getting too muscular. I when they did the studies on me at the PCI Wellness, they from 3 weeks for me prior to going, I gained like 27% muscle mass on my legs. I mean, 27%. I mean, the scientists at the USCPI was like, man, what are you guys giving this kid? Like, what's and I'm clean, guys, by the way. Let me get that out there. But I think you would blame genetics too. My father, my mother, they worked hard. My mom never drank, my dad and vice versa, but he was a bodybuilder. He was, from the little bit that I know of him, very kind of muscular, so that was kind of brought down to me, genetically.
I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your personal background. Like, you've gone through that. You wrote a book about all the things that happened to you and all the kids sleeping in the bed and your dad stealing the Christmas presents the one year and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. But did you think of any of that? Because, you had so many lows in your life and, starting in Los Angeles where you were born and going through your life. And did any of that flash through your mind tonight after Dana wrapped the belt around your waist and, you exulted in the win? Did you think of where you had come from and all the low, hard times you had had?
Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell people, we're poor in material, but we're rich at heart. I had a mother who was very religious growing up, and she had the attitude of no excuse, and she never allowed us to play the victim role. We were always challenged by my brothers and sisters It's different because I'm a son of immigrants, and the way you grow up, it was different. And I was just telling these stories with these guys. I remember when I was a kid, and I never felt embarrassed. I remember going with my mom to the store, and we would go shopping for food. And I remember we would come back, and I would literally walk with her like the whole time. And this is in the middle of the city, with a shopping cart just full of food into our apartments. And I never really felt embarrassed. I've always felt like, man, this is my mom, this is my family. And I've always taken a lot of these methods from the day I was a kid until now. And it's just awesome to be able to see what hard work, what dedications, what the mindset of an immigrant can do to a kid, son of immigrants, to the starter, man, to being on top of the world again, to shocking the world 10 years later, man, from the age of 21 and now 31, beating the pound-for-pound best fighter in history.
Henry, coming in, first thing you said when you came into the press conference here, you all doubted me. Every single one of you doubted me. How much more sweet is this victory to you, knowing that you were pretty much considered coming in the afterthought?
Yeah, I think it's life, man. It's life. This wasn't. I've always saw it this way because I believed in myself. This wasn't David versus Goliath, man. This was David versus David. That's the way I saw it. I know a lot of you guys saw, David versus Goliath or somewhere along those lines. But I had a team that believed in me. I believed in myself. The mindset of being a winner never left me. It really never did it, man. It couldn't. I still allowed that fire to burn inside me. I put myself in deep waters, and that's just what happens, man. It's to me, it's more based on action than just talking about it. I went back into the gym. I was mad for a couple weeks after the Demetrius loss. I was mad. I don't even think I came out of my room for a while, but I came out of that rut, and I used that as a motivator, and here we are today.
I'm here from Colorado Springs. I'm just curious, moving there at such a young age and kind of essentially becoming a professional athlete at that age, how important was it to have this next step so you had something to transition to after you had dedicated so much to wrestling?
I did, and I think that's what the sport of mixed martial arts does. A lot of people may be watching this, and they still may think it's human cockfighting, but man, this sport is a sport, man. It's given me a way it's given me a livelihood. I'm able to have a house, a car, and as you guys know, a lot of Olympians now, being number 2, being number 3 in the world doesn't get you paid. A lot of these guys are living minimum wage, and what the sport of mixed martial arts does, man, it gives me opportunity. 6-7-figure paydays, man. This is awesome. At 125 pounds, you don't have to be Mike Tyson. I'm doing this at 125 pounds, and that's beautiful.
Henry, right here. As a Hispanic American, since Kane we haven't had a champion. What does it mean that you're the face of the Hispanic market now in the UFC?
I think so, man. I mean, I may not be that, probably not as cute as De La Hoya, but it feels good. It feels good. It feels good to carry that torch, man. It really does. It feels good to. I'm a blessed human being, man. I'm a very, very prideful American, and also my heritage, man. I could never forget it, man. I just can't, man. I love Mexico. Actually, after this fight, I'm actually heading out to Cancun and relaxing and enjoying the people, the food, and everything else you guys don't want to know about.
Henry, you were a little bit reluctant a couple days ago to talk about like fate and destiny being at play, but in your heart, did you truly believe even back then that this was going to happen, and do you believe that now?
Yeah, I mean, you in your mind, you premeditate these moments of you strapping that belt around your waist. And it could be a lot easier if it wasn't Demetrius Johnson, because that goes through your mind. But I've always saw him as a challenge. I've always saw him like, man, I have a bit of admiration for that guy. It's like beating Demetrius Johnson was much bigger than this UFC belt, man. This was something for sports. This is something that this guy's been dominating the weight class for years. Before Demetrius Johnson before I ever started the sport of mixed martial arts, he was already champ. Before I even ever fathomed about joining the UFC, he was already the champion. And that guy motivated me. That defeat just made me stronger.
Yeah, Henry, when you were up there and the decision was being read, were you worried at all? It was a pretty close fight.
Yeah, I felt like it could have gone either way. I really did, man. If they would have gave it to Demetrius, I'd have been like, damn. It could have gone either way for sure, man. And I'm a very honest and humble human being, but I was just happy to hear I knew.
Just one more thing, close fight. Demetrius was a champion for a very long time. I know you want to go up, but would you be willing to give him an immediate rematch?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. And I want to talk to the UFC about that. He would deserve it, but like I said before, man, TJ has always thought about going down. And I'm saying, hey, man, it's no more DJ, man. It's Henry Cejudo, and I want to go up. Let's do it, man. 135 pounds. I'm willing to challenge the champ. Thank you, guys. Hey, do you guys know about the bonuses? Did I get one or no? Oh, I wasn't cool enough.
I haven't seen him yet.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Stand up for a photo. Stand up to the side.
Is this my hat, too? Or is this just for display?
Take it, don't replace it.
I never felt comfortable putting up the number 1 or 2. You're the best in the world, man. But I can officially do it now.
All right. Okay. Everybody good? Thank you. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Henry. Yep. If you do need more, again, we're in the top door.
Okay.
Who's got the first question?
Demetrius, I know this is not a familiar feeling for you, losing. So give me an idea kind of what the emotion is like right now.
I'm fine. Losing happens. Every great champion loses. I've lost before. When I fought Dom, I lose in the gym. So I'm fine. I'm more upset about the injuries, but other than that, I'm okay.
What do you mean the injuries?
I think I probably tore my right LCL, and then my right foot might be broken. So.
Do you know at what point in the fight that happened to you?
I think the right LCL probably happened in the second or third round. I remember we were scrambling, and I maybe shot, and then he kind of like pushed me over, and I rolled on my right knee, and I was like, I felt the pop, and I was like, oh, there goes the right LCL, fantastic. And then the foot, that's just from just kicking and kicking and kicking and kicking.
When you think about the fight, I mean, I know you want to go back and review it, but what was the difference tonight between the first time around? Was it something he did? Was it something with you? What was it?
The first time, we just fought. Like, it was just fighting. But this time, he was more patient. I can hear his corner just saying 2 minutes, like 3 minutes, 4 minutes. And I can feel each time he would get a takedown, he would just hold. It wasn't like he postured past my guard, got a submission game going on. It was more him just holding me, not me getting off my back, started moving his weight. But just him literally being patient, him not crossing a distance. I'll throw the leg kick, and he'll get off 3 shots, and then I'll block him. It wasn't like nothing landed significantly. And then the stand-up numbers, I think I outstruck him. But it happens, I don't think the judges know how to score leg kicks. But it is what it is.
So when you went up there to read the score, did you have any concern that, maybe this isn't my night?
It could have gone anyway. Like I said, whether I won this fight or I lost it, I'm going to go back home, do what I usually do, go home, spend time with my family, play some video games, get back in the gym, keep on learning, help my teammates get ready for their fight. And now I got to, get an MRI, check out my foot, check out my right knee, rehab that, and then see what's next.
I was gonna say, last thing for me, maybe it's too early, but I mean, do you feel like a rematch should be warranted and should be next, or I mean, does you got to recover?
Of course, yeah. It wasn't like he blew me out the water. Like I said, first things first. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I want a rematch, blah blah blah. I need to get healthy first. My health is number one, and I'm not gonna sign a contract if I can't get through 8 weeks of training camp to get ready for a fight. So first things first, I get home, get an MRI on my knee, my foot, see what the damage is, get that healed up, start training, go from there.
DJ, you said your foot was from kicking all the time. Did you come in with a foot injury, or did that happen?
No, it happened. It happened. I came in this fight 100% healthy, but when you kick over and over and over, shit hurts.
Was there any moment that one particular kick you felt it, or when you landed?
No, it's just kicking. Even when I kicked him in the stomach, it's just over time. And he would back up. You know what I mean? He would do this, and like when I'll cross distance try to get in there, and I throw the kick, like I'm just getting the bare end, not my shin across him because he's backing up. And then when there might be 3 or 2 minutes left, and he'll start pushing forward and move it, and I'll throw a leg kick, and then he'll come do his combinations. So it's just repeatedly just kicking and kicking and kicking.
And just so physically, you lost the 4th and 5th round on all 3 cards. I wonder, do you feel like the fact that you were diminished physically didn't allow you to perform to that championship kick and maybe get the decision, pull out one of those 2 rounds to keep the belt?
I have no idea, to be honest with you. I mean, literally the only thing I felt that was like a significant difference in the fight was when he would get me down, he would just literally hold me. It wasn't like. I train with guys like, Bibiano Fernandez, when he gets me down, it's like, okay, the time bomb is going. I got to start moving. For him, when he got me down, it was like he would hold me. And that's why I was able to do, each time he took me down, I was able to roll and throw him off me because he's just holding. He's not, trying to do a submission game, if that makes sense.
DJ, first of all, congratulations on an incredible run and being a class act the whole way through. And I know it just happened, but now that it's over, can you put it into words for us what the streak means and how proud of it you are?
Yeah, it was a great streak, and it's not over yet. You know what I mean? Like I said, I do it because I love it. I've already way exceeded my expectations. I was the guy who was in a warehouse making $10.76 an hour, running home to watch Joseph Benavidez fight Dominic Cruz. So my dream was never to be a world champion. My dream was just to learn how to do mixed martial arts, and when I did that, I became passionate about it, and this is the path that it led me on. So I'm happy with my run. I'm going to get back home, get healthy, and then go from there.
Hi, Demetrius. Again, as Jim echoed, congratulations to you on a successful run. One of the most successful champions we've seen in the UFC's history. You put an entire division on your back and carried it for many years. As people look back on this, what is the one thing you want them most to remember in years that pass from now about this legendary run you've had?
Just the consistency I had, how I was able to adapt to different fighting styles, and how I was, each time I won and I defended my belt, how humble I was, and even in defeat, I'm very humble.
Everybody good?
Good. Thank you.
All right. The gate was 2.9 million. The attendance was 17,800. It was a total sellout. The performance of the night went to Moicano and Dillashaw, and the fight of the night was DJ and Cejudo. They all won $50,000. Congratulations to them.
Dana, Henry Cejudo, shocked the world tonight. Now that Mighty Mouse's run is over, I want you to see if you could put that into perspective, what he accomplished. I mean, is that run of title defenses the greatest single accomplishment in UFC history?
Yeah, it's incredible what he's done. And tonight's fight was close. I don't know how you guys scored it, but I had it 2-2 going into that last round. But who gives a shit what I think? But that's how I had it. But very close fight. And what's really impressive, first of all, what a technical battle that fight was. And both guys are so incredibly talented. And, how much better Henry Cejudo is now from the first time that he fought Demetrius Johnson is very impressive.
We saw TJ Dillashaw get an impressive win as well. It's interesting because earlier this week, TJ had been saying, hey, if I win, I want to go down and fight at 125. Henry wins. He says, I want to go up and fight at 135. I'm just curious. I mean, is Cejudo Dillashaw a fight that you're interested in making? And if so, which weight class would you like to see it at?
I love guys that want to fight everybody. I love guys that are willing to jump, and I think the fans love guys like that too. So that's always good to hear. I love it. I don't know, but we'll see what's next, and we'll figure it out. But the reason Conor McGregor is such a huge star is because he's that guy. He'll do that. He'll jump around and fight anywhere and fight anybody. And when you have that mentality, people like it.
And last thing for me, I wonder, I'm sure you heard the criticism coming into this week about how weak this card was, and you had two very...
I didn't hear that.
Well, there was some criticism.
All right. When isn't there criticism?
Very, very entertaining fights in the main and co-main. I just wonder, I know it's been hard to market the flyweight division, the lighter weight class. Do you feel like this may be a turning point?
We're always going to have criticism. This card was full of the small guys. You know what I mean? The first fight of the night, the second fight was women and small guys, right? We sold out the Staples Center. Every A-list celebrity and, who's who in Hollywood was here tonight. What are you going to do? There's always going to be critics. It was an awesome night. Awesome night, a very successful night, and I'm happy.
I want to start, you just, in answer to John's question, said you like when guys want to challenge people. I remember there was a time not that long ago when you didn't like it, when...
I didn't like guys wanting to challenge each other?
like when BJ Penn would say, I want to go in different weight classes, and you didn't like that. You were
let's put this into perspective, okay? BJ Penn was 155 pounds, and that was before we had lighter divisions, and he wanted to fight at heavyweight. Okay, so let's put that one into perspective.
He wanted to fight other divisions.
He wanted to fight Randy Couture.
Really?
And then he wanted to box Oscar De La Hoya.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
I did. Yeah, totally different.
Okay. So, you never had a problem with that then. It was just specific to BJ was your issue.
Yeah, well, listen, BJ Penn is when you talk about a real fighter, BJ Penn is old school from the old mold. And yeah, BJ wanted to literally fight everybody that was out there, and I respect that, but there's limits to what,
I want to ask you about the significance of Cejudo's win tonight. For all the great things that DJ did, the flyweight division didn't get a lot of foothold. So Cejudo now is an Olympic gold medalist. He has that inspiring backstory of, being born in poverty and doing everything. Do you think this great fight tonight, combined with his story and kind of the persona that he brings to the cage and brings to the UFC, might make a difference?
A difference in what?
In terms of the popularity of the flyweight.
Well, I think. Listen, I think the popularity of the flyweights was there. What more do we need? I told you the place is packed with A-list celebrities. Sold out the Staples Center. The small guys did almost a $3 million gate tonight with a sold out Staples Center, and the crowd was very into that fight. Very into that fight. It's the fight of the night. And I think that when you saw scrambles with these guys, the crowd reacted to them. They were very educated on what was going on. I think we're there, and I think that Demetrius Johnson's reign and what he's done, and I've talked about this to many of you this week. This guy not only got better with every fight, but he started finishing people. and in spectacular fashion. And I think that, from the walk-in to their announcement that Buffer gave them, to the fight, to the end, the crowd loved it and were into it, and it was a very successful night.
And then I just want to ask you a couple questions about TJ. I mean, the fact that he's a guy that's really improved over time as well, just like DJ has. And, Dominic Cruz lurks out there, and Dominic Cruz won a tremendous amount of bantamweight fights. Who do you think is the greatest bantamweight in UFC history? Rogan brought it up that it might be.
Well, you can start making the argument right now about Dillashaw. Yeah. He beat Barao twice when Barao hadn't lost in 10 years. Then he turns around and beats Cody Garbrandt, coming off an unbelievable fight with I'm trying to remember everybody's names tonight. With Cruz. I mean, the fight with Cruz was incredible. Right. Comes off the fight with Cruz and then beats, loses to Dillashaw twice. So you can make the argument right now that Dillashaw's, right there, if not the.
And, I know you had high hopes for Cody when he won the championship and that he might be, and obviously in this sport, losses don't hurt you like they do in boxing, but the fact that he got knocked out twice and he was kind of the puncher and the tough guy, so to speak, do you think that hurts him in terms of him becoming that really big star? I know he's a star-level guy, but that really big guy that you thought maybe he could have become?
Well, these guys go on the way. Dillashaw's on his way there now. I mean, we're already discussing, is he the best ever? And Cody is still one of the best in the world. He's got to get out there and win some more fights. But yeah, these fights were massive for TJ, because I think even going into the first fight, I think everybody believed that Cody was going to beat TJ. Especially Cody. Cody knew he was going to win that fight. And the way that it's turned out, you look, TJ wins both fights spectacularly.
Dana, building on the point of the super fights, Demetrius said afterward that he thinks he's got an injured foot and knee. So considering that, does it make sense, the fact that both guys want the super fight, for it to happen? And can you talk about...
Who are both guys that want it? What do you mean? TJ
Dillashaw and Cejudo have both talked about it.
And Cejudo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Can you talk about the importance of super fights, though, to what you're doing? I mean, you've got Nunez and Cyborg coming up, too. You just had a very successful card with Cormier.
It's different. It's not about super fights. That word is being completely overused. It's not about super. If you look, Cyborg has annihilated everybody. Nunez has beat everybody's. There's people hurt, and Nunez beat people, and all this other. And it's the fight to make. That's just the fight to make. It's not about building super fights. That's the fight to make. I don't know what the fight to make is right now for these two, but we'll see. I don't make fights Saturday night. I make fights on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are my days.
Dana, I mean, DJ, all that he's done for the 125-pound division, would it be a situation where he could possibly get an immediate rematch against Cejudo?
DJ?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a possibility too.
I mean, obviously, he's the kind of guy that has built that division. Have you seen an evolution at 125? Because there was a time where fans would leave the building, if that was the main event, and now, like you said, it sold out the Staples Center tonight. Yeah,
no, definitely. I mean, yeah, that's what I was just. I mean, I just laid that whole thing out with Kevin. It couldn't have been more successful tonight. It literally could not have been more successful. It was an incredible night.
I think you mentioned.
And usually, the week of a fight like this, right? If it's the heavyweights or it's Conor or it's whatever, you have people just the ticket. Think about any of you that have ever been married before and did the seating chart for your wedding. There's no bigger fucking nightmare in the world than that. Okay, that's what I do every weekend. All right, it's the worst part of this job. I swear to God to you. This week, leading into this weekend, felt like it was as big as any fight we've ever done. The requests that I was getting for tickets, who the requests were coming from, the people that I had to say no to, you get to a point where even if you have some tickets, there's some spots you just wouldn't put those people. Just like your wedding, you know, somebody's going to show off, oh, they sat me next to this guy, or I'm not close enough to the couple, or whatever the deal is. That's what happens with this thing, too. So this was as big as any fight we've ever done as far as tickets go. And I know we haven't been back to L.A. in a while, but still, it was big.
Dominic Cruz has a win over TJ. Is that a fight that could possibly make sense in the future for the bantamweight title? Dom Cruz against Dillashaw?
Yeah, that's a good fight, too. Yeah, there's a ton of fights out there. I mean, there's a ton of fights. I'm not every night when I come up here and talk to you guys, I'm literally processing what happened tonight and, you know, how tonight went and who looked good. I'm not even thinking about what's next until Tuesday.
Last thing, is everything okay with Nate Diaz? He had a little bit of an issue, it seems, on Twitter.
You tell me if everything's all right with Nate Diaz. I mean, if
you
can decide, you know way more than I do. If you can decipher that code, call me tomorrow and let me know.
Have you spoken to him at all since then? Or?
What are we going to talk about? His lawsuit is, I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
Dana, right here. How important is Henry for the Hispanic market, considering he's...
Did he show up tonight? Was he at the fight tonight? Did anybody see him? No?
Nate?
Yeah. Yeah. He asked for tickets, and then we called and said, you coming, right? You coming? He says, yeah, I'm coming. And I guess he didn't come.
I was just curious how important Henry was for the Hispanic market, considering he was the first champion since Kane.
Listen, anybody who's Hispanic and wins and becomes a champion is great for the Hispanic market for us. You know, this guy is such a decorated guy, too. You know, the Olympics and now world champion. Yes, it's good that, you know, for the Hispanic, it's good for the Americans, it's good for everybody. I mean, the credentials that this guy has and the fight that he fought tonight, it's all good.
Dana, can I just clear something up quickly about the McGregor-Khabib fight? Are we getting a world tour for that?
No. We don't have time for a world tour. These guys are going to fight the first week of October. Both guys are going to go into camp, but I'll do something fun and we'll do some different stuff. I'm literally having a big meeting on Monday to get all this stuff in order and get it going. But you guys will know soon. We'll Lene and her crew will be reaching out to you guys soon on what we're going to do.
These guys seem to get pretty crazy when they're kind of in close proximity with one another. Is there kind of anything in their contracts that, I don't know, stipulates, you know, the massive financial penalties if they, you know, if something happens or anything like that?
No, I'm pretty confident that we can control what happened. You know, what happened in New York, obviously, you know, if you look at when that happened, everybody was loading onto the buses, everything was done, and our staff still handled it pretty damn well for what was going on and how it went down. And obviously now we're very aware and very ready for any of that. Nothing's going to happen. We'll be good.
Dana, the co-main and the main were outstanding, but there were a lot of other outstanding performances on this card, and one of the things we love is when people step up on the big stage here, New York, Fight Week. Who were some of the other fighters that you were most impressed with tonight on the big stage?
I got to be honest with you, Holland. So I don't know, for those of you that don't know the story, he was on the Contender Series, and he was a talented guy, and he won his fight, but he wouldn't shut up. The entire fight, he was talking to me, the whole fight. Now, any of you that have been to Las Vegas and have been to the Contender Series, it's straight killers, okay? Everybody comes into that building, and the fights, I could do that every Tuesday for the rest of my life. It's incredible. I love it. This guy comes in and is talking shit the entire fight. So I said, I'm not signing this guy. I don't want him. I'm not interested in him. So Thiago Santos' fight falls out, right? And I said, let's call some contender guys in that we liked. They all turned down the fight. I said, call Big Mouth. I want to see if Big Mouth takes this fight. Took the fight, came in and fought the fight, still talking shit, okay? In there with Thiago Santos, this beast, ranked number 13 in the world, and took this fight on 2 weeks' notice and is still talking and saying, talking so much his mouthpiece fell out twice. But wow, he looked good. Wow, he looked good. And tonight, all the celebrities that were there loved Holland. That's all they wanted to talk about. After the fight, they're talking to me about him. Back in my room, they're talking to me about him. They loved him. So much respect to Holland. He was very impressive tonight. Took that fight on 2 weeks against an absolute savage and fought a great fight. You know, he gassed out in the third, but he took this thing on 2 weeks' notice. So, yeah, I take it back. And we will give him the proper time to train, get ready for a fight, and we'll give him another fight.
Hi, Dana.
Hi.
Real quick question. McConnell is another one that looked great tonight. Got in the cage, called out Ortega. Obviously, after beating Cub Swanson, a top 5 guy, he put himself in that, in my opinion, in that top 5 range. Is that a fight we can expect to see? And what's next from McConnell?
He looked damn good. You know, that guy's a beast. And when you think back to the Ortega fight, that fight was great with those two. Yeah, he looked great. I don't know. We'll see what's next for him. I mean, what's Cub ranked? Number 5 in the world? Yeah, so he's in the top 5 or 6 now. So we'll see what happens. Cool. You good? Thanks, guys. What's that? Where was Mike at? Tyson? Was he at Tyson here?
He was here this week, but I think he actually went back to Vegas. Oh, he did? Yeah.
He wasn't here at the fight.
No, he was here for check-ins, though. He was here on Tuesday.
I was here on Tuesday. Yeah. I didn't even know. But thank you, guys. Safe travels home. Appreciate it.
TJ, congratulations on another impressive victory tonight. I got to ask you, I mean, with all the history, everything that happened, all the things that done, how personally satisfying is this victory for you tonight?
Oh, it's good, man. No matter who it is, getting out there and getting your hand raised is very satisfying. So, yeah, but a little extra, a little extra back there, just kind of, it's done. Close that chapter.
Nice. It was obvious after you heard him the first time that he never really fully recovered, but, I mean, he was in there for a while, and you were going full speed for quite a long time. I mean, was there ever any part of your head that said, I got to back off the throttle a little bit. We could be going 2, 3, 4, 5.
I'm in too good a shape to let off the throttle. He's not going to be able to recover. I'm going to be able to push the pace always. I mean, I think that's my fighting style is that I'm always going to bring it. I'm going to push the pace as hard as I possibly can all the time.
And before this fight this week, I mean, you said, you'd be interested in going down to 125 and facing Mighty Mouse. Now that Mighty Mouse lost, I mean, does going to 125 to face a Henry Cejudo have that same excitement for you, or was it something about the legendary Mighty Mouse?
That's whatever's going to get me to the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. I believe I am that guy. So whatever that biggest challenge is, let's bring it.
Cejudo mentioned, too, that he'd like to come up to 135.
Yeah.
Does that entertain you, or would it be more about, getting that second belt?
I don't really think the guy would deserve it. I mean, he's still got – I mean, Joseph Benavidez just beat him, Yeah, he lost a split decision to – Pettis, but I didn't agree with that loss, So, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff there, and he's got possibly a trilogy with Mighty Mouse. So I don't know. I'm open for whatever, though. I'm not stepping away from a challenge, that's for sure.
And last thing for me, I mean, the name that I think a lot of people are throwing out is Dominic Cruz. I mean, there's history there.
Of course.
He's getting healthy. Is that something that appeals to you right now?
First things first, I can't wait to go home, have a staycation, enjoy my house out in Colorado, get on the lake, jump on my boat, enjoy my son and my wife. So that's the first thing. We'll figure it out with the team. Shoot, man, why don't we bring on Brock Lesnar?
Stipe's looking for a fight. You got any interest? How much did your eye, if any, affect you? You know, because it closed up fairly early when he landed that right hand. Did it affect you at all? And did you have any sense of urgency because of it?
No, not because of the eye. I did feel the eye though right away. But I can get flicked by someone, and for whatever reason, I bruise. I cut easy. You know, this bone structure just it doesn't do very well. It's like GSP. You know, you hit him with anything, he's gonna get bruised.
Do you feel like, you know, Cody seems like, you know, he has such intense dislike for you, and the fact that, does that work against him? Like, you know, if you're so angry that it takes up some oxygen and maybe works against you where, you know, if you're a little more relaxed, you were almost taunting him, so you're more relaxed and he's angry. Do you think that worked against him in a way?
I don't think that had to play a factor with anything. I think just he has some technical problems that he needs to fix. And I really don't believe he's got a chin. You know, he plays a dangerous game. He likes to get in there and slug it. You know, I worked a lot with my boxing this camp. I worked with Joel Diaz's gym out in Indio. I did a lot of boxing, tried to sit on my punches a lot. Worked a lot with Dwayne on that right hook when Cody was coming in. We were planning on him throwing a right hand. And every time he throws his right hand, he drops his left. You know, he's looking to throw a left hook. He's fast, right? He throws a big right, left hand, but he drops it to his pocket. So we were just planning on timing it. I got a great coach that game plans with me and just timing that as he comes in and kind of let some of the technique go out the window and just be mean, you know?
I was going to ask you about his chin. Did you have any occasion, like, did you find from sparring with him, like, did you say, hey, this guy has a weak chin, or was it just when you fought him in the fights?
When I fought him my last fight, wasn't anything in sparring. You know, Cody was coming into the team as I was leaving, so we didn't really get to work out as much as has been like in the media, you know. It was more when I hit him in that first fight with my foot and I dropped him with that left kick. I didn't feel like that left kick had anything on it, you know, but it affected him.
TJ, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, I know, you know, when you get off this boat on your vacation, you're probably going to start thinking about that next opponent. And the thing is that, you know, Henry Cejudo, I think, has a pretty good chance to really capture a pretty large fan base. Yeah. And the fact that you both, you know, are from Southern California, is that, I mean, at the end of the day, don't you think about the finances of the fight now, considering where you are? And is he the more attractive opponent than Cruz at this point, potentially?
We'll see. We'll see how it all comes together. You know, it's absolutely something you go through your head. I want to be a sportsman. You know, I want to continue to just be the baddest man I can. But, yeah, man, that definitely goes through your head on who you're going to fight and who's going to cause the most attention. So I'm up for, like I said, I'm up for whatever challenge, bring it.
You were lighting him up in that finishing sequence. At any point were you like, "Hey Herb, can we finish this?" Because it seemed like he was getting messed up pretty good.
Yeah, I mean he wasn't recovered from the first drop, you know, and he got back to his feet. But I wasn't gonna let off. There's no way. I mean, I'm too mean. You know, I'm gonna go until I win, and I didn't have a problem giving him a little extra too. You know, that knee was definitely a pretty hard knee. I felt that one, and that one finished him off.
You guys had a little bit of a meeting in the cage afterward. Do you remember what you said to him, or if he said anything to you?
No, I just gave him a hug. You know, I got respect. You know, I mean, it takes a lot to get where we're at. You know, this is a tough game. This is a crazy life we live. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of eyes. You know, he worked his butt off. So, you know, respect. He went out there and did it.
Do you think this is finally over between the two of you? This whole feud, this whole rivalry.
I said I was going to ruin his career at 35s. You know, I'm here to stay. I'm the king at 135s. I don't plan on seeing him again.
Last thing for me, were you surprised that Cejudo beat Johnson? And I don't know how much or any of that you could watch, but were you surprised?
I watched a little bit of it. It was hard. You know, I was getting ready, you know, hitting mitts with Dwayne and getting ready back there. But I saw a little bit of it here and there, and it I don't know, it didn't look like the same Demetrius Johnson, you know. Cejudo looked good, and I knew that Cejudo was going to be a better fighter coming in the second time. He looked good against Joseph, but Joseph was able to get that victory. But he was a better fighter, you know. He came out and used his wrestling, got on top. But I don't know, it kind of seemed like a little bit of a lackluster fight. You know, I didn't seem like the same Demetrius Johnson.
And you still didn't get to show off that jiu-jitsu yet that you were talking about, TJ. But.
I know. I was talking about that with my coach after I dropped him the first time, and I had like that backside control. I should have put the hooks in, but, you know, I was too happy punching him.
Well, that's, I mean, 2 times in a row you finish him emphatically and violently after taking his best shot. You had your time where you had to be patient and wait your turn. You could argue that you beat Dominic Cruz, very close fight there. Dana said you're in the conversation and very much in the running to talk about being the best champion ever in this division.
Yeah.
And you talked about being pound for pound best in the world.
Absolutely.
What do those things mean to you right now after that humility and that time you had to spend after the Cruz fight to get back to the top of the mountain?
Sounds great, man. You know, I worked my butt off to be here. I always fought the best. I always fought the toughest guys. You know, when I lost that decision that I didn't agree with, I was fighting the number one contenders, you know, John Lineker, Sinsao. I was going through the tough guys and beating them handily, you know. So I should be on a 14-fight win streak. You know, I should be defending my belt. I don't even know how many times right now, you know. But absolutely, I agree with that.
TJ, my congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have two questions. First one, you looked very, very confident on the open workout and the conference and before the fight. Where this confidence coming from? And the second question is what you were doing different in this fight comparing to the first one.
The confidence comes from how hard I train, and I train harder and smarter than anybody out here. You know, I have the training lab in Anaheim, California, with Sam Calavita that pushes me to the extreme. Not only how hard we go, but the science behind it. You know, the guy's a very smart guy, and that's why I decided to move myself down there. As well as I have the greatest coach in the world. You know, Dwayne Ludwig, not only how great he is, but he's willing to sacrifice and travel out and travel every week to train with me, you know. So I have the best team in the world. I got Juan Archuleta pushing me. I got Cub Swanson. We have a great gym, the training lab. And what I did differently is that I completely tried to switch it up on him. I can be a different fighter every fight. You know, I knew he thought I was going to move my feet, throw a lot of kicks, and use all this flashy stuff. But instead, I kind of waited for him to rush me and met him with his right hand, beat him at his own game. I knew he was going to drop his left, and it happened.
Hey, TJ, you and Dominic Cruz, obviously 1 and 1A. It's inexplicably linked seemingly for the rest of your careers. Now, tonight you came out and, you know, I'm the best 135-pounder there ever was. Arguably have that fight that should have gone your way. But for those listening, what do you feel like establishes you as the best ahead of Dominic? Where do you think you're a step ahead in that avenue?
I keep fighting. I'm not on the couch. I'm not behind the desk hurt. I'm out here fighting. I'm performing. I'm fighting the best in the world.
Anybody else? Good?
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
I deserve this opportunity because I'm the best.
My ultimate dream is to be